Welcome everyone to this interesting conversation at ETHRWorld as part of our unique initiative, Women Trailblazers, and Ode to Women Professionals across the globe. Today, I have the fortune to have with me Ms. Chhavi Bajaj, Head of Organization and Talent Development at Flipkart. A quick introduction about Chhavi before we start our conversation today. Over a career spanning 23 years in diverse industry segments across the country, in regional as well as global roles with companies like ITC, Tesco, UBS, and as an independent coach and leadership development facilitator, Chhavi has been several transformation journeys from talent to maximizing their potential. She thrives on solving for business through deep and lasting investments in talent through an integrated approach. She's deeply passionate about all things talent and strives to bring in connected experiences through the work she does. With that, a very warm welcome, Chhavi, to today's conversation.
Thank you, Besaki, and thanks for giving me the space to have this lovely conversation with you.
Looking forward to a very exciting conversation. So, Chhavi, as we all know that the International Women's Day is around, and today we shall be touching upon a pertinent topic that is empowering women to navigate the future of work. So, to start off with our conversation, I would love to ask you that, keeping in mind this year's International Women's Day theme of Digit All, innovation and technology for gender equality align with what we are doing at the organization through various initiatives. So, if you can share your thoughts on the similar line.
Yeah, Besaki, I think tech is the center of our world any day. I think we spend more time with our cell phones than with probably anything else in the world. So it starts from there. And I think when we look at whether it's with men or women at work, essentially, so when we are trying to bring in a lot more integrative and balanced approaches to our life, and I think those 2 years of COVID woke us up in ways that were unimaginable. I think leveraging technology, I don't think there's a choice right now, because I think it's nearly impossible for you to completely function in a balanced way without the help of technology. The fact that I don't even know which city all of us are joining us from, the fact that we're able to have this conversation. I'm leading teams, in an organization which is 24,000 strong, with a 35-member team, with many of them working out of different cities, and still being able to connect, talk, influence, and engineer new thoughts within the organization. I think just balancing out, even from a prioritization perspective, whether I have to manage my own mental, physical, emotional well-being. There are apps. I use apps, there's a Calm app, there's an Insider app. There are apps for health and fitness and so many other things that never fail to remind me how unfit I am. To apps for learning, and there are amazing apps out there which remind me when was the last time I actually read a book on my Kindle. To an app that allows me to set the right priorities and monitor my team no matter what our preferred time of working is. So it has allowed the spaces that we needed in our heads more than anything else, because in the pace at which we work, especially in an e-commerce industry in which we work, things are changing, evolving, by the minute. Claiming the space to think and reflect can only be done if you're leveraging technology, and making sure that my circadian rhythm is not in conflict with the people I want to spend time with, work with, and influence it well. So coming from small apps to a Zoom meeting to, I think tools for productivity, everything is at our fingertips right now. So I'll pause here and see if this is helping. If you'd like me to cite more examples, happy to go deeper or wider wherever you need me.
I think we would love to hear at least one or two examples from you.
So I'll start from home and get into work, because I think a lot of our freedom in thought comes, especially for women, in terms of are things working well at home. Right. I have a 17-year-old and a 9-year-old at home, and there is only one cell phone at home. But I think there is a reminder on that phone to call me at 4 p.m. every evening. Right, to something as simple as that, to making sure that whether it's meal plans or classes and everything is now on a shared Google Drive. that whether it's my husband or me or somebody at home managing it, it's all tech enabled right now. To coming to work where it is a lot more conscious and effortless. Like I shared with you, I think both me and my team, we meet each other only once in 2 weeks. And technology has enabled that. Two things. I think very clearly using, not just shared docs at a very simple level, making sure that I think we have access to information, the same information at all times. Through shared drives, through Slack platforms, through I think Google Hangouts, making sure that whatever I am learning and receiving today, I don't have to hold a meeting for that. Each one of my team members, we have a shared file where we update things, and the 5 things that we update on a weekly basis, that even if we don't meet, what am I celebrating today or this week? What is it that I'm proud of? What is it that I need help with? What is it that I have read or learned? What is it that I need for you to do for me this week? So I think we've been very sharp in clarifying when we set out to working together, what are the things that we need from each other? Do we really need to talk to each other? But we've also set times, like Wednesday is a time when my entire team is here. In person. For those who are out of location, they come in once in a month, and make sure that we are also stepping out for that ice cream, for that coffee, for dinners and offsites as well, so that technology doesn't inhibit, the sharing process. When you're working with others in the organization, I think very clearly so, making sure very simple practices, and this may not be very tech savvy or something, but I think being very mindful that if me or my team, we are looking to influence something, we are not taking anybody by surprise. We make sure that people receive reading notes or surveys or questionnaires or in an engaging format. I think we use surveys very actively to actually listen to our stakeholders. And that at the beginning, at the end of every meeting, shooting those out so that even if people have not given us feedback in the moment, I think we are able to take that. I think thirdly, setting time for design thinking a lot. I work in the COE or the Centers of Excellence space, wherein we might be on a daily basis very distant from business. But inviting the distant people into our thinking through those surveys, by sending them things to read, by inviting them to participate and contribute to ideas, by things that we do, which are maxathons, hackathons, and things like that, allows us to engage a lot more deeply. I'll give you an example. I think in the HR space, for example, very recently, we have a set of 45 very senior leaders, and we realized that they were not feeling as engaged or as involved in shaping the larger strategy, HR strategy for the organization. What we did was we made sure that those 45 people are first heard into what is it that they need, but more importantly, getting them into smaller teams to work on problem statements, no matter where they are in the country, and making sure they meet every other month, coached by people who are adept in design thinking, and get them to actually practice some of those ideas on themselves and bring them back into a scale, where technology helped a lot. So what I'm trying to share over here in a nutshell is that there are ways to integrate, there are ways to balance, there are ways to respect each other's needs and wants, and technology can play such an amazing part in it without over-indexing on it. Because I'm also very conscious, if we use only technology, we'll use the human touch that's so much important in thinking and influencing.
Chhavi, to be very honest, I absolutely love the part how you weaved in as to how technology is helping you as a woman at the personal front also to stay connected with your close ones, while once you step inside the office premise, how technology once again is kind of supporting you to keep everything at pace. And the very fact that you mentioned about balancing out the entire thing. So I think you've mentioned quite a very important point talking about technology. So this leads to me other question that when we talk about a woman leader, so we know there are still certain verticals, and also at a global level, there are still some existing gaps in women participation in the workforce. So, where do you see this larger gaps in women participation in the workforce when we talk about a global level or vertical wise? And most importantly, what's your thought that what all can be done to manage this existing gap?
Yeah, and I've lived through some of them too. To be honest, Visakhi, I think there are times when I have struggled to keep a healthy relationship with my ambition. I think when I had my kids, or when there was a very imminent promotion and city movement as pertaining to my partner. But so I've seen it alive, and I know it's not easy. And no matter how much organizations do, and they should, a lot of it, and I don't want to take the agency of the woman in that whole conversation, is that first of all, I think it's very important to be very aware of how ambitious you are, really are, and embrace that ambition almost shamelessly, in saying this is what I need for my well-being more than anybody else. As it starts with that, because no matter what your spouse, your partner, your family, your kids, and your organization does, if that is not a confident voice, um, others can only be enablers to your voice. Because I've seen in the best of organizations, including Flipkart, where I work, we've offered the best of avenues. Starting with period leave, which is unheard of in many progressive organizations, to extended maternity leaves, to sabbaticals, to allowing people to move to part-time work and gig work and all of it. I have seen women at both ends of the spectrum, women who have used this amazingly well to come back or claim their space in their own lives, in their own careers, and in the organization. And there are women, no matter with even with all this, finding it very difficult to claim it because they haven't made peace with their own ambition. So I think it starts with that. But coming to the context of the organization, I think there is enough research, and I don't need to cite research is available at at the press of a finger, is to say that yes, women play an increasingly, I would say, important, I would say, I think very purposeful role in an organization's growth. And we speak to the entire fluidity of the gender here, and not just men and women, in terms of when you embrace that fluidity in the organization, just the conversations are so rich and engaging and powerful and innovative, that there is a reason why we should not, right? So I think where I've seen organizations very mindfully invest in creating equity in the workplace is to understand that there is innate inequity, not just from a social role perspective, but from a biological perspective, from a life stage perspective. And three, I think the agency to make choices. Not everybody has the same agency to make choices as some of us may be more privileged to. So organizations are respecting that. I think some of the amazing work that I have been privileged to receive and even design at Flipkart and other organizations has been to be able to hold the space for very honest conversations. There's a program we are running right now called Flip the Script, which basically is allowing, no matter whether which community you're a part of, which gender you're a part of, but to be able to confront your own biases. As women, we carry biases for ourselves. What are our expectations? As men, we carry, as role holders, we carry. So we're running programs like this. We are making sure that there are very safe circles. We just launched Lean In Circles, for example, wherein women can very safely speak about issues that may seem disconnected, but are really impacting their productivity, their focus, and their passion and the drive that they need to have at work. Two, working with leaders. And through our leadership development programs to bring in an inclusive mindset and making equity a way of thinking and being in how they engage, communicate, lead, inspire people as well. Two, I think very intrinsically in the bone of the organization, the kind of policies, gender agnostic being the primary one, but like the period leave, policy that we brought in, the part work, part pay policies that we brought in. I think we're at a space where we might even want to get into a ramp off model. So I think creating anything and everything that allows people to, I think, embrace at the pace at which they want to hold their careers is important, and not just for women, but for men as well. Because the more we do it, we're also beginning to think, why not for men as well? Because if there is inequity that men start experiencing at work, that inequity is very likely to impact back at home as well.
Right. I must mention the part I loved it when you were so blatantly vocal when you say that a woman should be very clear about her ambition and most importantly be shameless about it. I think that's a very crucial point that you have mentioned, Chavi. And this kind of excites me to ask you that as a woman leader yourself, what are those three things, three pertinent points that you would like to share with aspiring women professionals to help them succeed and sustain the future of work?
I think first and foremost, take care of yourself. Nobody else will. And this means in all aspects. I think creating the mental space to nourish yourself. For me, it is about reading. And I think if I haven't read a book in a week, I feel almost faint by the end of the week. So I think do what really nourishes you. Some of our friends, go out for painting classes, dance classes, things that really spark a joy in you, apart from work as well. So really taking care of your mental well-being. I think surround yourself with friends who celebrate you as a person and not just as a professional. You need those folks in your life. I think in the pursuit of a career, sometimes we forget those relationships which really nourish us. So I think for me, mentally nourishing yourself through learning, through relationships is extremely important. Second is, I think generating clarity for myself very regularly. Because it took me a long time in my career to be extremely clear as to what is it I really want to do. And I think once that was established, then there was no holding back. And be okay with not having clarity sometimes, but be in the pursuit of clarity. Is this job, is this assignment, is this organization, is this set of people working with, how are they making me feel about myself as a person? Are they helping me advance? Are they helping me think? Also, what am I giving back to receive? A lot of times, I think I have seen others and sometimes myself as also feel trapped in a sense of entitlement. I am giving so much, and what am I receiving? And that's a horrible trap to fall under. I think feel okay with what you're giving because that makes you happy in your organization, in your work. Because there are times when the rewards come immediately, but there are more times when the rewards come over a period of time. So having that clarity for yourself will help you tide over those ups and downs quite a bit. The third thing for me, I think I've learned it very hard and very late in life, is asking for help. I think, growing up, and especially I think taking care of a growing family as well, and doing a lot of things on my own. As women, we end up doing that quite a bit, and not asking for help had left me, I think a few years back, utterly exhausted. And I was at a point of burnout, and I think I had the wisdom to look for a coach who held my hand and made me relook in terms of what is it that I really wanted and who I really wanted to be. And therefore, I think that reinforced my belief in having a coach, and I'm a coach myself, and coaches need coaches. But that helped me, I think, reconfigure my ecosystem a bit. To say, if I'm not creating the energy that feeds me, nobody else is going to feed me, right? If I hadn't read a book in a month's time and I would not feel great about it, saying, what am I doing in that time that I would rather do? What is the work that I can get somebody else to do? And if somebody else is not doing, what work can I outsource and not feel guilty about? So I think extremely important to ask for help. Ask for paid help, ask for unpaid help. I think because the people who occupy strong relationships with you will feel okay. A lot of times we shy away because of the limitations we put on ourselves. So for me, I think generating clarity, not having an entitlement mindset, but I think be consciously patient that rewards will come, and waiting and making sure they do. But I'm also asking for help and not doing everything yourself.
Thank you, Chavi, for this heart-to-heart talk. And I must say, you indeed mentioned quite some important points to this last question. And I believe our women audiences will completely resonate with what you have stated right now. All I can say is that keep sharing and keep inspiring. And that is what I would like to say before I end this conversation. Sincerely, thank you once again, Chavi, for being with us today and sharing your much sorted thoughts. Soon hope to meet you again sometime in future and have much more insightful discussions, maybe on some other topic. But as I say, keep sharing and keep inspiring till then.
No,
Thank
thanks,
you so
Visakha.
much.
Thanks for ETHR team for having me and giving me the space today. Thank you.
Thank you. Same here. Have a lovely day and have a lovely Holi also.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.